I still play as much as I can. I mean, there's several different reasons I like to play that instrument, but you know, growing up in a household with both my parents being jazz piano players, you know, the drums isn't really. I wouldn't exactly call it a melodic instrument. It's you know, you can play rhythms and motifs and things like that, but being involved in the harmonic side of music is something I miss. So that's a way to find a way to be involved in music that doesn't always involve my role, because I think I learn how to change. Let me rephrase that. I learn what to do and what not to do from playing another instrument. I think it's a valuable lesson, because if I sit in with a group and I'm playing bass, I won't go into details, but there are certain things that drummers can do that I don't necessarily find to be too appealing. And I've also been guilty of the same thing. So, that being said, I do feel that playing another instrument can give you a different perspective on what your job is in a given style of music. I'm not a great soloist. All right, I'm not going to be able to play giant steps through all 12 keys yet. Yet. But you know, it's an interesting thing to take yourself away from what you do on a daily basis, you know. Plus, with composing music, it's very hard to compose melody from sitting behind a drum set. So I play piano, I play bass, solely for the reason of trying to understand composition, you know. And when you have the lineage of written music throughout history, you know, you can really understand, wow, if you look at Mozart, you can see everything Bill Evans ever played is in front of your face in classical piano music. So it's very interesting what you can learn from playing different instruments. I find that it's changed the way I play. Maybe it's made me play a little bit less at certain times. Most of my friends that I hang out with in California are all bass players. You know, on Sunday afternoon when we have football day at my house, it's usually like Tim LaFave and Reggie Hamilton. And, you know, sometimes Jimmy Earl comes by, or different guys. And, you know, most of my close friends, Andy Hess, Chris Chaney, you know, they're all bass players, you know. It's like a dog is a man's best friend, the bass player is a drummer's best friend. It's a relationship that's a match made in heaven, exactly. But just try it. You know, certain guys can, you know, play Sweet Home Alabama on the guitar. If you can get through the song and you can sit down with somebody you like to play drums with, you can see what it feels like to play with a great drummer. You know, unfortunately for me, I can't play with Steve Gadd, which I would love to experience what that would be like, you know? I mean, how great would that be if I could actually play bass with Steve Gadd? I mean, I played with Dave Weckl a few times years ago, but you know, most of the time now for me, it's just, you know, recording at my studio and putting rhythm section tracks together. I've done some record dates and things where I play bass because I'm the drummer, so if we can hook up, if I can't hook up with myself, it's pretty pathetic. But like on the last Renegade, or the first Renegade Creation record with Robin Ford, myself, and Jimmy Haslett and Mike Landau, there was one song that I had written. It's kind of a funny story because Jimmy Haslett plays upside down, left-handed. So I had written this open string line in A, which is a very simple, you know, pentatonic line, but it's, if you're bouncing off the open strings, it's very simple, but when you turn the bass around and the strings are backwards, you can't do it. So I actually played the bass on that track. He took the solo, great. I don't claim to be anywhere near Jimmy Haslett, who's one of the most brilliant musicians I know, but it was an interesting thing to actually record with those guys and sit in that role when I've got Robin Ford here and Mike there and I'm tracking bass. It was kind of intimidating, but the track ended up to sound nice, you know, it's interesting. But that relationship is needs to be tight, you know, bass and drums, you know.